Burnout is when you hit a wall, but instead of collapsing or taking a rest, you scale the wall and you just keep going. This is a quote by Helen Petersen, author of the book Can't Even: How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation. Great book, got a link in the description, go check it out. But if this sounds like you and you're going through burnout and the wall that you're scaling keeps getting taller and taller every day, make sure to keep watching, because in this video we're going to be talking about the steps that we can take to start recovering from burnout. Hi, my name is Hetal and I'm a South Asian millennial and ex-Johnson & Johnson employee. On this channel, I talk about anything from burnout, escaping corporate life, and early in career advice of your career. So if any of those topics ring a bell for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. I've broken down burnout recovery into 8 distinct steps, but always remember that these steps might look different for everyone. And if you've been going through burnout for months or even years now, don't expect to feel better overnight. This is a process, and remember to give yourself grace. Let's get into step number 1. You got to acknowledge that you're burning out. Now, this is a huge one, and it might seem silly and almost like a no-brainer, but a lot of times you may not even realize that you're going through burnout. So understanding the signs and symptoms are key to beginning the recovery process. Now, in my last video, I talk about just that, the 5 signs that you're burnt out from work. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. I've linked it up here and there's a link in the description as well. I'll just be waiting for you here. Oh, you're back. Let's continue. All right, let's get into step number 2, which is seek out a work bestie to talk about your struggles. Now, we all have that one person at work that we could not live without. You trust them, they understand you, they listen to you, they empathize with you, and maybe they've felt the same way that you're feeling now in the past. But all in all, they can be a sounding board for you to make sure that your feelings are valid and that you're not alone, because trust me, you're not. Comment below and tag your work bestie and let them know how grateful you are to have them. Step number 3, talk to a therapist. Seeing a therapist is something that I recommend anyone and everyone do, and it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in life. But when you're burnt out, a therapist can help you not only express how you're feeling and really dig deep into the root cause, but they can also help you incorporate tools and coping mechanisms to use when times get really rough. My therapist is really amazing, and she has a way of listening and helping me understand my thoughts and where my trauma stems from. But a therapist can also be another type of sounding board that is completely removed from the line of work that you do, and therefore give you a completely different perspective. Okay, here we go. Now, step number 4 is to set up time with your manager to discuss how you're feeling. All right, now this one seems really scary, and it probably is very scary to most people, because this is at the point where you've decided to make your feelings known. Maybe your boss is a narcissist, or maybe he has no people skills, or maybe he's, like my friend would say, ako tako. Either way, you've made the decision to finally take a stand and speak up about your burnout. If you've done this, I commend you. You are incredibly brave. Let me know in the comments below how it went. You might have one conversation or might need to have multiple conversations for your manager to truly understand what you're going through and the full extent of how burnt out you are. Look, your boss is human as well, and they probably need time to digest the situation in order to really help you. And if they're a great leader, they will ask for feedback on how they can help you now and what they can do better next time. So far, we've covered 4 steps. The first one being acknowledging you're burned out. The second one being find a work bestie to talk about your struggles. Third one being speak to a therapist to understand your underlying causes. And the fourth one, the scary one, is to set up a meeting with your boss to talk about how burned out you are. If you like these steps so far, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. All right, now let's get into step number 5. Create a plan to cut out the noise and reduce the stressor. Now that you've spoken with your manager and let them know how you feel, it's time to work with them and create a plan to cut out the noise. Now, noise being all of the ancillary things that are surrounding work. Maybe the first step is to cut down your workload. Maybe you need to cut out all of the extracurricular activities that don't pertain to your work. Maybe you need to be switched to another project. Or maybe you need to go part-time or per diem for a little while. Most likely it will be a combination of these things. But maybe what you actually need is in step 6, a break or a sabbatical to do nothing. Look, if you've been burnt out for months or even years, you might need to take a hard look at yourself in the mirror and recognize that small fixes might not be enough. You might need an extended break to reset your mind, to rest, and just do nothing. This sounds counterproductive, I know, but if you've been on autopilot and just on the go for all of this time, your body might be telling you to stop and slow down. Look at it this way. If you're sick, then you're probably going to be sleeping and staying in bed for a couple of days at least. If you're burnt out for months on end, you might need to rest for months as well. This is no different, and honestly, a couple days vacation just won't cut it. After you've decided to take a break or a sabbatical, something to do while you do nothing is step 7. Reflect on why you feel burnt out in the first place. If you're taking a break or not, taking time to reflect is key. Ask yourself, why have I been feeling burnt out? Is it because I've been overloading myself with stretch assignments? Or is it because the job requires me to travel much more than I can handle? Maybe it's because I have to work long hours and I just can't give my family the time that they need. Whatever it is, ask yourself this question and write about it, meditate on it, take a walk and think about it. You'll be surprised how much clarity can come out of spending a few moments in silence. Finally, we have step 8. Make a decision to stay or leave. At this point, you've had the necessary conversations with your manager and you've created a plan to cut out all of the noise. You've talked all of this through with your therapist and or your work bestie. And maybe you've decided to take a few months off or a sabbatical leave to reflect on why you've been burnt out. At this point, you either realize that you actually love the work that you do, but you've just been overworking yourself without realizing it, or you've realized that the work itself is the cause of the burnout, in which you might start looking for other opportunities. After following these 8 steps, what I hope is that you find clarity and happiness in whatever you choose. And remember, these 8 steps will take however long you need. There is no timeline. I know everyone's situation is different, and burnout shows up differently in everyone's lives. If this video brought you value, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment with what step of the process that you're currently in, and share this video with someone who you think might need it most. I also want to mention how incredibly strong you are. You got this. Until next time, check out my other videos, and I'll see you next week.